shit. Ear. All right, let's get it. Another drafters draft. What do we got? 4 days left? 3 days left?
3 days left until the draft happens on Thursday night at 8 p.m. It's lit. Let's go. Ben with the third pick like usual.
Standard. You know, let's switch it up a little. All right, we're going to switch it up. We rock with the big dog. One time for the one times. Can't go wrong with the big dog. You know.
Yeah.
Especially in a form. You know, I'll take whatever 3, 4 200-yard games, 3 touchdowns each. I mean, I'll get them at some point.
Yeah,
probably December.
December. That's what they call it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for an exposure pick, I like it, but other than that, I'm taking Saquon and Kamara over Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
especially in a full PPR. Sup, guys?
What up, boys? I see a lot of sharps in this draft. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Gotta talk. All right. It's up to me. Could go with JT here. Could go with Aaron Jones. Probably been my standard pick. I'm gonna go with Aaron Jones here. I get the 107 too much.
Every draft.
It's starting to piss me the fuck off. Like I've gotten, I believe, the 107 or the 109 the majority of drafts, and then I've gotten the 101 a couple times. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So, been basically taking the same players every single draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I miss out on so many players. It's kind of unfortunate.
My focus is so split right now. I'm in 2 of these things. I've been drafting these joints all morning, man. I'm trying to get as much of this overlay as I can. With the rate at which it's filling, it looks like this thing is gonna, max 4,500 out of 6,000. Yeah. At that point, it's a rig-free tournament.
Yeah, it's almost at 4,000 right now. I think there's like 200 entries or so until it hits 4,000. But with the 6,000 max, yeah, there's going to be a ton of overlay, which is obviously good for us. So,
loving it.
Gotta get as many entries into this as possible.
All right.
Ooh, didn't mean to do that.
Uh-oh.
All right, little
peek behind the curtain.
A little peek behind the curtains there, but up to me. I mean, Tyrique fell, so I'm gonna take Tyrique here if my thing loads. But my internet's kind of funky right now. I don't know why my internet is so slow right now, but Tyrique Hill right there.
Your shit is dog shit. That's why.
I mean, my modem and my router are literally right here. I got everything plugged right in, and it's just being mad slow today for whatever reason. But Tyrique Hill at 2-4. This is a player that usually goes in the first round. Only 10 picks in each round. So, sometimes he does fall to the second round, but I've never seen him fall to 2-4, even in these style of drafts. So I'll take that all day. I have 0 Patrick Mahomes.
Seems like an issue.
And 19 drafts. 0 Patrick Mahomes.
It's a quarterback that you have to take in the first 4. It's tough. I've done it a couple times just with Chiefs stacks. Tyreek Hill. We got our boy Houston in here. Say, first place with you, Joe.
Oh yeah, Kelsey, Tyreek, yeah. That would have been a lit stack. I don't think I've ever seen anybody end up with that in the 19 drafts I've done, but yeah, sorry about that, Houston. But Austin Eckler, that's a solid RB1 though.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's see what we got here. George Kittle.
We got Husey in the chat promoting his TikTok, but feel free to leave negative feedback too. I mean, my boy's trying to get the engagement out here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even mad at that. I love negative feedback almost more than the positive. Like in our YouTube chats, I mean, they roast us on the regular, and I'm down with that. What's your TikTok?
Yeah, I'm down to give him a follow.
Yeah. I mean, hey, while you're at it, follow us on TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, TikTok at the DFS Dose. About to have another TikTok go up today, probably after this draft. So
nice. All right, so I would like to get Calvin Ridley here, and I get the opportunity. There were some rumors today on Twitter that Julio Jones could get traded post June 1st as sort of a salary thing. And, I mean, Calvin Ridley to me is already the clear-cut wide receiver one, but
yeah, I mean,
if Julio's gone, I mean, what round do you think Calvin Ridley gets taken in? Top of the second?
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely have a second round ADP. I think he could leapfrog like Jefferson and AJ Brown and Hopkins, maybe being drafted as the third wide receiver off the board. But it makes all of the sense in the world for the Falcons to trade Julio, right? Especially if they can get a first round pick. I don't obviously know his trade market and what teams are willing to give up for him, but
you would think it'd be high, right?
Yeah, it's at least a second round pick, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
So if I can get a player like Julio, or if you can get a pick, like a high second round pick or a first round pick for Julio Jones, like that's a smash deal for the Falcons. And that could definitely impact who they take on Thursday as well. Especially if they go Kyle Pitts or maybe Jamar Chase if they're willing to move Julio. Shout out to UC. Fantasy Couch. Yep, shout out to him.
That's our man.
I'm gonna go with Keenan here.
A couple streams. Shout out to Fantasy Couch. Keenan, I love that pick. It's all reliable. You know what I'm saying?
All reliable. He's going to be the number one target for Justin Herbert in that Chargers offense. But yeah, so Julio Jones trade. We've had the rumors with the 49ers pick. A lot of news has broke today. Kyle Shanahan saying that, nobody might be alive by Sunday. All-timer right there.
That is such a good quote.
That's an all-timer right there. Okay.
Yeah, the reporter said, is Jimmy Garoppolo guaranteed to be on the roster on Sunday? He said, I can't guarantee anybody will still be alive on Sunday.
That's an all-timer right there. But and they also said in that press conference that they're looking for a starting quarterback with the third pick. And just like a month ago, they said that Jimmy Garoppolo was the starter if the season were to happen. So,
I mean, as funny as that quote is, and like as much as I love that, that's kind of like basically the same thing as saying, no, Jimmy is not a lock to be on. And, maybe he'll be on the roster on Sunday, but I don't think he's going to be on the 49ers roster come September. Do you?
I mean, I think he will just because his cap hit is very high. What is it, like 25 million?
It's high.
It's very high. So a team would have to be willing to take that cap hit on, and I don't know if any team will. Obviously, Gut says that he shouldn't be on the team, especially if they draft Mac Jones or Trey Lance or whomever they're thinking about at 3. But Jimmy Garoppolo, he's probably not the starter. So that report a month ago was bogus, and just honestly, just can't wait till Thursday to just see who they draft. Like
it'll be so much fun. I can't wait.
Just read this on Twitter. Todd McShay on Ryan Russillo's podcast says he's hearing the Bills are trying to move ahead of the Jets and Jaguars to draft Clemson running back Travis Etienne. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like
it up on the screen.
Yeah. Don't get auto picked. So I was thinking that, we talked about it on our last episode of the podcast. We went over some draft props we like, and over 0.5 running backs, aka one running back getting drafted in the first round, was one that I loved. And I think that this is just, fuel to the fire. So I mean, I think it's a smash. At least one of these guys goes. I mean, Bills is a fantastic landing spot, just in terms of touchdown upside. I don't know how much Josh Allen would be likely to dump the ball off, but we've seen certain, aspects and certain games where the Bills would give Devin Singletary 5-6 targets per game. And if, you're upgrading that to Travis Etienne, I think the upside would be massive. Absolutely massive.
Yeah, I mean, for fantasy, I think his ADP will for sure rise if the Bills take him even from this round 4 ADP. I think he'll jump into the round 3 ADP, but I could definitely see the Bills, if they want a running back, I don't know if they'd necessarily have to move up. But I've been seeing some mocks recently where the Jags do take Etienne and reunite him with Trevor Lawrence, which would be kind of interesting, especially considering, we both been drafting J-Rob at a very high rate, so that would hurt.
That would be absolute pain, like literal absolute pain. I really hope that they just why? Just let my boy J-Rob cook. He's ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would make sense for J-Rob to just be the guy in Jacksonville. I mean, he showed that he can catch the ball, and, you don't have to pay him much for these next couple of seasons, so that would be the smart decision. But I could also see, pairing a quarterback with a guy that he played with and is familiar with in college. That would make sense to me as well.
I mean, the moral of the story, and the moral of the story, right, would be that ETN is a value. Like, it doesn't matter where he goes. Does he go to Buffalo? Does he go to Jacksonville? Either way, his ADP is jumping, right?
Yeah.
Does he go to the Steelers? His ADP is jumping. It'd be hard for him to land somewhere where his ADP does not rise from where it's going. We saw Houston take him at 4 or 5 here. I've seen him fall to the 5th consistently in these drafts.
Yeah. His ADP will for sure rise pretty much with any team that drafts him, and that goes. I think the QB cooks and running backs eat proper slang terminology. LOL. Oh, should have. There you go. Yeah, but
QB. Arby's can't cook. Is that true?
I think eats is the proper
eats.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Zeke. Yeah. All right. I'll give it up to him. That's fair. So I went Julio with my pick there, and here's what I'm thinking. I went Ridley in the 3rd, setting myself up for a potential Falcons stack here, or maybe Julio gets traded and his target upside goes up because there's not another Stone Alpha where he goes, depending. So definitely in the market for a Matt Ryan pick in these next couple of rounds, but if not, that's all right too. I'm not going to reach for him. If anybody stream snipes me, I won't be too hurt about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with a wide receiver 3 with this pick. I have pretty decent shares of all of these guys, so maybe not Deontay, but got a couple T, got a couple Kenny, a couple Ayuk. I like all of these guys. They're all in the same tier for me personally. But I don't know. I think this Bengals offense could be explosive this season. So I'll just let this Q get picked right here.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think that T. Higgins' value would significantly take a hit if they do end up going with Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I mean, that I think it would take a little bit of a hit.
He's a player I've been avoiding off of that premise, that premise right there.
But just because they're adding Jamar Chase doesn't mean I'm gonna avoid T. Higgins. I mean, I think he's a talented wide receiver, and as long as he's tied to Joe Burrow, I think any of those receivers in that offense can succeed, especially if they're coming out in 4 wide, 5 wide at a higher rate than any other team in the NFL, which they did last season. So
right, and Burrow was slinging it. I mean, yeah absolutely. Fantasy Couch, if you can't get Ryan, go Fields. Insinuating a little Fields pick there at number 4 for Atlanta. I could see it 100%, but you don't need to tell me twice to draft Fields. I don't care who's on my roster. A big Fields guy over here. I know for me, and I know Joey as well.
Yeah, love Justin Fields, but there's obviously a clear-cut disconnect between fantasy analysts' love for Justin Fields and the NFL's love for Justin Fields, because I'm just routinely seeing him being the quarterback that is projected to fall the most. I don't know why that is. I'm not an NFL scout or a GM, but for some reason they don't really love him that much.
Crazy.
But right here, I'm gonna go with another stud sophomore wide receiver in Brandon Ayuk. So T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's a crazy wide receiver core for me, I think.
You going to be looking to target Mac Jones in the final round? Get that stack off?
I'll pick Trey Lance over Mac Jones. No shot. No shot I'm drafting Mac Jones. Man, I just don't see how you can take Mac Jones with the third pick. Like that can't happen, can it? Like
it's happening. Just accept it.
My brain can't wrap I can't wrap my head around the fact that they would do that to trade up for Mac Jones. Like it makes absolutely no sense to me. But what do I know, right?
Right. Jamar Chase, that might be the highest I've seen him go, 6.7.
Yeah, he usually goes right here. Oh, he usually goes right here every draft.
Hey, I mean, I don't hate it though. When you look at like Odell, DJ Chark, I think his upside is comparable to them. Maybe not Odell, but maybe. I mean, by all accounts, he is that guy. You know, one of the best prospects since Julio. I went with Javonte there as my RB3. You know, he could land in a pretty good spot, I think, and see his value rise. I like him at 6'8". He does sometimes go in the 5th. That's a little bit too rich for my blood. But if you can get a guy who's, you know, arguably a top tier prospect at running back, I'll take him. End of the 6th. Yeah. Him and Kareem Hunt are the drop off of this tier where I'm basically not touching any of these guys. Melvin Gordon, you know, Mostert, Ronald. Like, I'm not touching any of these guys.
Yeah. Don't believe the Mac Jones hype lies. Hey, man. I just don't know why they would leak who they're considering if they traded up.
What's the point of not? They already did it. They traded up, and the first 2 picks are spoken for. Like, what is the?
I remember to bring this up real quick. I saw a conspiracy theory on Twitter. You know, the Jets head coach Robert Saleh was the 49ers defensive coordinator. So I saw a conspiracy theory tweet from some random account that that Saleh and Kyle Shanahan have been talking and texting. Mm-hmm. And so the 49ers know who the Jets are going to take, and it might not be Zach Wilson. So then what if they don't take Zach Wilson and they know Zach Wilson's going to be there at 3 and the pick is Zach Wilson at 3 and Fields or Lance at 2? Conspiracy theory right there for you.
Dude, I was so engaged in that I almost got auto-picked. I was this close to getting auto-picked. I ended up going with DJ Chark there. You know, all these wide receivers I like, Boyd, Robbie, Will Fuller. I definitely considered going Dak there to pair with CeeDee Lamb. He probably won't make it back to me in the 8th, but it is what it is. I have a ton of Dak exposure. He's my highest owned quarterback actually in these tournaments, so I'm okay diversifying. Reacting to what you just said, though, I don't know. It seems like a super long shot to me, but I mean, I don't know.
They're the connections there, right?
Connections absolutely there.
The connections there. He could have sent him a text like, "Yo, I'm taking this quarterback," because we all know Trevor's going 1,
right? So you think what could it be like? Fields at 2 or Mac Jones at 2?
I mean, either if the conspiracy theory was true, it would be Fields or Lance at 2, and then the Niners could take Zach Wilson if that were to happen. But nonetheless, that's probably not going to happen. You know, right here, I'm going to take a guy that could be the biggest winner of the offseason after Thursday. My second share. I don't usually make that pick. But he's 3 days away from being one of the biggest fantasy football winners of 2021.
I didn't see that coming, but I totally get it. I love that.
Just needs a clean run out. I mean, this was my son last season. Like I feel like he's a capable fantasy football running back, and we saw it right here. I mean, one game with under 10 points last year, 33-point game, 20. So he's got some spike weeks in him. And if the Dolphins don't take a running back at 18, I mean, which I think is a very high probability that they won't. God.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, this is a guy who was averaging 16.4 fantasy points per game last year. That's absolutely elite. That's in the same range as Austin Eckler, Joe Mixon, and Jonathan Taylor. It's more points than Josh Jacobs, Zeke Elliott, DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson. If he does get a clean run out in this draft, I mean, 7.7 is a smash value. And I haven't been drafting him either. I think he might have just put me onto something.
Yeah, I mean, he literally, I'm telling you, all he needs to do is avoid like a day 1 or day 2 or 3 running back pick from the Dolphins. If they draft a running back in like round 4 or 5, like who cares? Mm-hmm. But top 3 rounds would be but it is what it is. Right here, I'm going to take a quarterback. It's going to be Herbert. Personally, I prefer Dak, but I have Keenan Allen, so I'll let Dak fall here. I prefer Dak. I could have went Dak. Maybe I'm overvaluing the stack too much, and I know we've been talking about that kind of recently. But
Dak goes immediately after. Love that value at 8.5.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, Dak will probably finish higher, but I have the stack. Maybe that was the wrong pick. I mean, I'm fine with either, honestly, but Dak should be drafted above Lamar, I think, and he should be the 3rd quarterback off the board.
He's ranked 3rd in my rankings, ahead of Lamar and Kyler, etc. JM in the chat, damn.
Ben's got my brain just immediately going to stacking, even though in a total points format, you know, you kind of don't really have to.
All right, let's talk about this.
We've been talking to some people where the winning teams from last season didn't stack at a very high rate.
So I'm going to take Will Fuller here. Spike weeks, 8th round, nothing else needs to be said. Talking about the stacking point. Okay, so that happened last year, but in these tournaments, I think there's a wide range of potential outcomes. Okay, so is the fact that they didn't stack an indication that not stacking is smart, or is that just what happened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Stacking makes so much sense from a logical perspective. If this pick that I made on this team works out, what else is going to work out? You're limiting the amount of things you have to get right. Okay. So Trevor Lawrence is a smash pick in the 11th. This draft, say I take Trevor Lawrence. All right. Lawrence goes in the 11th and this is the winning team. Well, what else is going to happen in that scenario? Theoretically, some of the Jaguars players are going to also pay off their ADPs or be values because they're succeeding in correlation with that event, aka Trevor Lawrence being good. So I don't know. It just I don't understand why you wouldn't stack, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense from a process perspective. But obviously, like in a total points format, like I was just talking about, like just going back to Prescott or Herbert. In a full season, Prescott's going to outscore Justin Herbert most of the time if they both stay healthy. And no matter if I stack or not, like Prescott will probably score more points because he's a better fantasy quarterback at this point.
Here's the mistake. So you took a player outside of the correct tier, right? Herbert and Dak aren't in the same tier. So that is, at that point, you're sacrificing value for the stack. But say you're taking players who are like in the same tier, like Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence, right? Or say, I don't know, Tua and Baker Mayfield. If I already have Odell on my roster, I'm going to take Baker there because the projections are similar enough that if Baker's the right pick between the two, there's a good chance that Odell succeeds as well. You know, maybe I have Will Fuller on my team and I lean Tua in that instance. For me, it comes down to players being in the same tier. Best Ball Fantasy in the chat says my highest finish was 8th in this tournament last year, and it was carried by an Adams-Rodgers stack. So, and the thing about that is that they were both values in drafts last year. So I think what it really comes down to is make sure, stacking is good as long as you're not sacrificing too much projection for it, if that makes sense. That's my theory on it.
Oh, you disappearing for a second.
My door was open. Thought someone was coming in to say what's goody.
Go with Noah Fant, my tight end one. Especially if the Broncos can get a quarterback which I think they will. And I think a lot of sharp analysts believe that they will secure a quarterback as well. Probably at this point, Justin Fields. Because it seems like people or teams are on the same line of thinking, like the Panthers in lines that they should draft a quarterback if two of them fall. And a lot of analysts believe that as well. I've seen way too many mocks from way too many sharp people that have, the Lions either trading out or taking a wide receiver. And I've seen way too many mocks from sharp people that have the Panthers drafting an offensive lineman if one of them falls, like Slater or Penei Sewell. So.
Mm-hmm. The Lions would be absolutely insane to trade back. I mean, I hope that this is all just, PR smoke, so the teams don't jump them.
Right now, if the Lions got a trade offer, it's a good trade right now because you don't know who's going to fall on Monday. You don't know which quarterbacks are going to fall or if any other team's going to trade up. So if you get a trade back to say, I don't know, the Patriots, because 15's a good number. You move back 8 spots, you pick up a second round pick, yada, 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 whatever.
I mean, it would need to be a first.
Whatever's included
in for it to be worth taking yourself out of contention realistically for Justin Fields. Because trust me, Lions fan, I get it. There are holes on this roster at almost every position, essentially. So they do need to accumulate picks 100%. But if they have the chance to get Justin Fields and they're not picking up minimum, maybe a first and a second, maybe like a second this year, first next year, then they
won't get a first next year. They won't. They get the team's first round pick that they're going to swap, and then pick up like a second or in a third or a second and a fourth or something. I don't see any team giving up a first next year, I should say. But just back to the conversation. Yes, if it's today, I trade back if I'm the Lions, just because you don't know who's going to be there. On draft day, if the quarterbacks fall, no, then you don't make the trade if teams start calling when it's your pick at 7. Like that's just how I'm looking at it. So today, if I'm the Lions GM, I trade the pick, accumulate more draft capital, rebuild. It's more than a quarterback at this point, right? Like Justin Fields or a Trey Lance isn't really going to turn the tides on the Lions organization. But accumulating picks and maybe hitting on 4 or 5 picks from this draft will help turn the tide. You focus on getting your quarterback next year, whether that be through free agency or the draft. Draft time comes, quarterback falls, then you take them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could get a better offer, but like Ben said, you kind of have to take the quarterback at that point if you're in a rebuild, I think.
Absolutely. This is a guy I'm taking right here who I don't have as many shares as I'd like to, but I'm starting to come around to. Maybe these last 10 drafts, I've been going harder on him, and that's Michael Pittman. I like the upside. I think we both agree that T.Y. Hilton at this point is on a steep decline. I also love Paris Campbell. He's one of my highest owned players as well, going in, the 18th round or later. But Pittman is a guy with a ton of touchdown upside. He's kind of being like the odd man left out of the sophomore class of wide receivers that people just aren't, thinking about as a potential wide receiver 1 for his own team with a quarterback improvement. I'm not a big Wentz guy, but it'd be hard to say that he's not an improvement over Phillip Rivers in his last year in the NFL.
I mean, Wentz is definitely an improvement, and he's reuniting with one of his old coaches in Frank Reich, who was with Philadelphia when Wentz was actually good. So maybe that will help him, and the Colts have weapons on offense with JT, Pittman, Paris Campbell coming back. They re-signed T.Y. Hilton. They still have Zach Pascal, who's like a solid number 4 or number 3 option at this point. So there's weapons for Wentz to rebound. So I like the Colts offense this year. And I like Pittman a lot. I think I have a couple shares of him.
Great pick if the Colts don't trade for Julio. Hey, buddy, I got Julio either way.
What is a realistic Julio Jones landing spot? Green Bay?
I went with Matt Ryan here just because, I already have Julio, Calvin Ridley as my quarterback too. I think that makes a lot of sense. So, all right, Julio Jones potential landing spots.
Green Bay would be, Green Bay, San Francisco, Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay. Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Ooh, that'd be fire.
That would be sick. That would be sick. I'm trying to think if there are any other good ones.
New England was reported to be interested in both Julio and Jimmy G. I mean, as a Patriots fan, I'll take both, to be honest. I'll take both. Bring them here. Bring them to New England by all means.
What's New England's cap situation like, though? Are they in trouble after breaking the bank for Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne?
No, they have about $15 million left in cap, so not too bad. I'm gonna go with Deshaun.
Wow, big Deshaun Watson guy.
I just think he's gonna play this year. Don't really have much analysis other than that.
I mean, if he does, then he's absolute. I mean, he just got drafted behind Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Joe Burrow, Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. So, I don't hate it. The problem is, if you think he's going to play, then you should have a ton more Brandon Cooks exposure.
I'm not drafting Brandon Cooks. I don't care if Deshaun Watson plays or not.
Bro, if Deshaun Watson starts 16 games and there's no Will Fuller and they have nobody else on the offense except for Kiki Cutie and Randall Cobb or some nasty combo like that, this man Brandon Cooks is going for 1,700 yards. No bullshit.
I can't draft him after all of the trash I've talked about Brandon Cooks over the last year. Like, even though it wasn't really planning on taking Watson, but at the end of the 11th round, fine. Even though I took Herbert 3 rounds earlier, but no on Brandon Cooks.
He will cook Andy. Yeah, he's going to be cooking defenses and eating their remains. That's a fucking fact. If you think Watson is playing, you have to draft Cooks. If he's there, Cooks already went, though. Cooks already went, correct? He went like it.
He went. I mean, I could have taken him instead of Devontae Smith, but
well, it just means that you're going to draft Kiki in the 20th.
Nah. I think these people need a refresher on Brandon Cooks and who he is as a player.
All right, here we go.
All right, I think the people watching need a refresher on Brandon Cooks.
Can I go or do you want to go?
You can go. I'll let you go first.
All right, let me tell you this about Brandon Cooks. This is a man who goes for 1,000 yards wherever he goes.
Then gets traded because he sucks.
Los Angeles Rams with Jared Cook. Patriots.
I didn't know Jared Cook was
Jared Goff.
Was a quarterback.
Did it with the Patriots when Tom Brady was having the noodle arm a couple of years back. Where else was he? Saints, Drew Brees. What else am I forgetting? Texans. That's 4 places. It doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball, who's slinging him the rock. He's catching it. He's going for 1,000 yards. Consistent as all hell. I just don't understand why Joey doesn't give Brandon Cooks the respect.
He's so good. Then why is he getting passed around like a prostitute on Lyle Ave? Can you please tell me that?
No,
if he's so good, why do teams want to ship him off? Okay, he's a safe wide receiver.
Want to acquire him. Have you thought about that? Every team that ships him off is giving him to someone who wants him.
Well, they kind of. I'm pretty sure that most of his deals have involved draft picks, where I think the team wants the draft picks more even if Watson is 100% innocent, he's not going to play for the Texans. Yeah, it's probably a good point.
That is a fair point.
But yeah, Brandon Cooks, I mean, he's just not an alpha. This is a guy that averaged like 12 fantasy points per game last year. He had a couple boom weeks at the end of the season, but if this will load, I can pull it up, but he's not a guy that's going to average 16, 17 points per game in a season. And that's just him as a player. He might get you that 1,000 yards, but it's just going to come because other players on his team got hurt, or he's the only guy left. Somebody's got if he's out there, he has to get the ball if he's the only guy.
He was PPR wide receiver 16, yeah, and he's been in the top 10 several times throughout his career. How old is Brandon Cooks? Like 27 or something? 28 at the most?
Yeah, something like that. I just don't like Brandon Cooks. Okay.
Yeah, I know. We hopping in the next one? I don't know. Are we? We doing a little double draft?
All right.
That's a fact.
All right. Who shall I draft here? I'm gonna go with Hines as my RB4.
I like it.
I like Hines. He's gonna have a role in. He's gonna have a role in that Colts offense, no matter how people or how much people don't want to believe that.
I mean, he had multiple 2-touchdown games. He's not just a guy who is going to get, 4 or 5 receptions. Like, I think that's how people view him. They look at him as like, one of those Tyrique Cohen type, Theo Riddick type guys, but he's more than that. He's dynamic.
Yeah. Gabriel Davis, your boy goes.
Best pick and best ball. Yo, I think the people are on my side with this Brandon Cooks thing. I mean, you just look through these comments. I mean, obviously, you're just a stone donkey and a hater. That's really what it comes down to.
I mean, probably. I mean, I am. I'm not sitting here debating that I'm not. I don't like Brandon Cooks.
T.Y. Hilton in the 13th. Yeesh. That's I don't know about that one, buddy.
And I just want to go on record and say, like, yeah, he had a solid finish in terms of PPR. But, yeah, that gets boosted when you have a 27 and a 39-point game to end the season. So, shout out to Brandon Cooks. I mean, it counts. I'm not trying to disregard it, but, 4 games with 15 or more points in PPR last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't like him as a player, so fuck Brandon Cooks.
It's kind of like how you look at Tyler Lockett, right? And he's a guy who finished in terms of, let's see, points per game. He was 11th, 12th in fantasy points per game in PPR, but he had 9 games under 10 points because he had that 150 spot and he had like a 28 spot early in the year. But I mean, the thing about that is that in best ball, that's kind of okay. That 50-point week means more than 10 weeks with under 10 points in this format.
I mean, you're not wrong. You are definitely not wrong about that.
I'm kind of hurt for tight end right now. Might have to go with one of these Patriots guys if they don't get scooped with these next 2 picks. I think they both have a certain amount of upside. Classic Hunter Henry getting sniped right as I open my stupid mouth. And then let me guess, Jonnu Smith. He only has 1 tight end too. Oh my God, here comes the rage. I already know.
Fantasy Couch, please draft Jonnu Smith.
Nah, dog, you ain't gonna do that. Right?
But last thing I'm gonna say about Brandon Cooks.
Good shit, baby.
He's a value, or he's a good pick if Watson plays. If Watson doesn't play, he's the worst pick in the 8th round. or in the 8th to 10th round. I've seen him go like in the 9th, 8th round. Worst pick by far. I'm sorry. Especially if Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback for 17 games. Good luck. Good luck, any Houston player.
What's that mean? He's still going for 1,000.
Tyrod Taylor is absolutely god-awful. He's not going for 1,000 yards with Tyrod Taylor. I'm sorry. Tyrod Taylor might not even throw for 2,500 passing yards. That team might not even score 10 touchdowns the whole year if Watson doesn't play. So, I mean, that's why I'm staying away. But obviously with my team specifically for this draft, I drafted Watson. So kind of what, could have picked Cooks. But other than that, just like in regular fantasy, like come redraft time, if this Watson situation isn't cleared up, like, no, just no. I'm not drafting any Texans player besides Watson. And he's the only Texans player I've drafted. Oh, but
pretty sure that
there's an auto draft of David Johnson. That's not my pick.
Come on now. You had him ranked highly, obviously.
All right.
Kind of skipping over analyzing our picks. We're just vibing out with the chat right now. We'll go over all these teams at the end. If you're in the chat, we'll definitely review a team as well. 100%. I mean, I can't wait to get to reviewing your team because it's looking like it might be dog water. Not going to lie.
Dog water? My team is lit. What you talking about?
Yeah. A lot of floor plays on your team. I mean, you're definitely going to be in the top 100.
I mean, top 100. I mean, 100 out of 6,000. That's my team so far.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Nah.
I said nah.
Boy drafted Henry Ruggs. You love Henry Ruggs.
Hey.
He's
a stone burner.
A burner. I think he's a good player. I just think it's a terrible offensive scheme for him to be in. He needs to be on the Chiefs. I need to start that petition and get Henry Ruggs on the Chiefs.
You think he'd be an improvement over Mecole Hardman?
Yeah, 100%.
Would he be an improvement over Demarcus Robinson?
Forgot you're a big Demarcus Robinson guy. Ben loves trash cans.
Is he even still on the Chiefs, or did Robinson go somewhere?
Nah, they like re-signed him to a 1-year deal.
Oh, well, yeah, because they know how to value their elite players. Good organization.
God. What do I need?
To draft a better team.
Ben, your team sucks. You know?
What you about to do here?
Draft another wide receiver. If it will load. Get the falling Christian Kirk.
One pick after AJ Green. Who's the true wide receiver 2 in Arizona?
I mean, AJ Green is dust. No.
Yeah.
Like
he is. But it was such a bad situation. Like he had some games out of Joe Burrow, but after that, it was like, God, I can't even remember the dude's name. Was it Ryan Finley, or was that too long ago?
Yeah, Ryan Finley.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to fault AJ Green for that.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle is the wide receiver 2 in Arizona. That would be nice. That would be dope.
I mean, I've just today, I've seen people on podcast I've heard people on podcasts and seen people on Twitter mock Waddle to the Dolphins at 6. So I don't know if he's going to fall to 16 unless the Cardinals obviously trade up for a quarterback. Then I could see them taking Waddle, but I don't know why they would trade up for a wide receiver when you have D-Hop and you signed AJ Green and you have Christian Kirk still, and you drafted Andy Isabella in the second round last year. I don't know. It doesn't make too much sense to me, but if they value Waddle over AJ Green and Christian Kirk, then yeah, maybe Christian Kirk not that bad. Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good wide receiver. He's probably gonna be the number 3 guy in the slot, and I think he can excel in that role. He played that role quite a bit at Texas A&M is where he went, and he excelled there. So I like Christian Kirk. Obviously, attaching drafting wide receivers that are on good offenses, I think in the later rounds is very beneficial.
I mean, I'll be honest, man. I think Christian Kirk is absolutely overrated.
I mean, this is how can you be overrated as a 16th round pick?
That's fair. I think he was overrated. Let me say he was overrated. Now I think he's properly rated. Like, I think he deserves to be a 16-round pick. This is an alleged deep threat that has 3 games with over 80 yards last year. And I think he had 3 if I'm not mistaken, this is just off the top of my head, could be wrong, but I think he had 3 touchdowns in 2019 and they all came in one game. I just remember that because I didn't play him that week on DraftKings, and that was pain. I remember being in pain the next day. Especially because you played them, so that was not a fun podcast.
Yeah, I have a 25% share in Kirk. Love him for the late rounds. Yeah, I think if you're getting him in the 16th, 17th round, you can't go wrong with a player that's going to be on the field, 80%, 85% of snaps. And at this point, he's probably better than AJ Green. So,
that's fair.
I'm just excited for his role change because he was the number 2 guy on the outside opposite D-Hop. Now he gets to go into his natural position as slot wide receiver. So I think the ceiling is a little bit higher than in recent years for Christian Kirk. Right here, Gus Edwards.
The bus?
How is this dude still on the board?
Gus Edwards, my guy.
In round 17. I've seen Gus go in like the 12th round. Isn't that where he's going?
I mean, yeah, his ADP is like definitely a couple rounds higher. I mean, he's not a guy I've been drafting, but shit, in the 17th, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I have to take him as my RB5. I mean, he's gonna get touches. No. If J.K. Dobbins goes down, I mean.
Gus Bus fell. People might not know this because we had 0 listeners in the first year of our podcast, but I mean, Gus the Bus was like, he was the one. He was the original player that we hyped up. We spoke to a Rutgers running back who gave us some exclusive quotes about Gus the Bus, told us he was a man that you could go to war with. He was a man that you could trust with your life. And, Gus Edwards is just that dude. Absolutely slept on. Shout out to Gus the Bus.
What a guy. Absolute legend.
Legend.
17th round, Jesus.
Big facts. Zach Moss is not it.
So with Noah Fant and Gesicki, I don't really have to take a tight end 3 here.
Yeah.
Could go with another quarterback, which I probably will. If you go listen to our latest episode of the podcast, this is one of Ben's prop bets, and will complete a stack of mine if this happens.
Yeah, buddy. I like it.
If you haven't listened to that podcast, make sure you go listen to it. It's in the link down below in this description if you're watching on YouTube. But Ben thinks that Trey Lance is going to the Broncos.
So does Vegas. He is, that's the favorite. If you go on DK Sportsbook or Bet Online or any of these places, it's looking like that is the prevailing thought, is that Lance goes to the Broncos. So, and I'm not going to lie, just looking at your team real quick, you also have Brandon Ayuk. So maybe he goes to the 49ers.
Yeah.
You have some upside to land a low-key stack with a 18th round quarterback, a guy with some upside too.
Yeah. And I wasn't even looking at that. So shout out to Ben for pointing that out. But Yeah, I mean Trey Lance, elite rushing upside. If he can be a day one starter, I don't know if he is. Obviously, would have to depend on what team he goes to. If he goes to the Niners or the Broncos, I think he is. If he doesn't, then he's most likely not. But in the 18th round, I'll try and shoot for a higher upside rookie quarterback in Trey Lance. And like Ben mentioned, got the little potential double situation with Ayuk or Noah Fant for the stack. So
Till he goes to Washington. That's GG's.
I mean, Washington would be lit. I'm not gonna lie.
That would be lit.
Honestly,
they're quietly loaded with McLaurin, Gibson, Samuel, Logan Thomas.
Honestly, like I mess with best ball and everything. I just can't wait for DFS. Like,
oh my god,
DFS is king for me.
Yeah, I mean it's king. Period. There's nothing like a DFS sweat. There's really nothing like it.
It must be nice.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. Singletary over Moss. I agree with that take. I agree with that take. Might be Matt Breida over both of them, low key in the 20th round.
I'm gonna win the Millie Maker this year. Put my stamp on it.
You are
100%.
Did you not, or have you not said that 4 years running now?
In life, I'm gonna give a little speech to everybody out there that's watching. In life, you got to speak what you want into existence. All right, you got to speak it. Law of attraction. Look it up if you don't know what it is. If you think positive thoughts, positive things are gonna happen in your life. If you want something bad enough, you'll make it happen. So 2021, mark my words, I'll be a millionaire, and I'll be laughing to the bank, as 50 Cent said. So
I love DFS. Lots of anxiety though when the sweat kicks in. Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. Joey's never really had to sweat much.
No. In the playoffs, I had to sweat. I came in third in a GPP. Shout out to Treyway. Shout out to the Traquan Smith. 2 touchdown game against the Bucks in that divisional round. I won like 600 or 700 off that GPP, but Ben's won a tournament.
I won a couple last season. And I think the first one was week 1, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just downhill from there. Literal, I was the most profitable in DFS after week 1, and you look at the graph, it's just like, fuck.
That's how it goes sometimes. Draft Guyton. It's my wide receiver 9
guy. Oh my goodness.
Hey, I got Justin Herbert on this team.
But
yeah, DFS. Maybe a couple months out, but that's when y'all got to tune in. That's when we provide the information.
Yeah, that I can't.
And some of our listeners won some big money this year too.
They did.
They did. Not trying to brag or anything, but and we were both winning players. You can find that video on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely, transparency is key.
All right, I got 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 9 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. Well, what would the build dictate here? Do I go with a running back 6 or nah? Probably not. Go with a wide receiver 10, huh? I got Aaron Jones, J-Rob, Gaskin, Naheem Hines, Gus. Probably don't need RB6.
Yeah, just because of the value you got on Hines and Edwards as your 4 and 5, I think that you're probably set there. I would be looking at probably a 9th wide receiver here for you.
I have 9 already.
So yeah, I mean,
I could go.
It would either be a tight end 3 or a wide receiver 10.
Which I think OJ Howard's solid pick. If he comes back healthy, I mean, he's the best tight end on that team.
Why they shipped Cameron Braid off?
Yo, actually, that's funny that you brought that up. There's a video on our Twitter feed, if you go through the media and you scroll down a little bit, where Ben says that Cameron Brate is better than Darren Waller. So keep that in the back of your guys' heads. You know, fuck it. We'll go with that triple stack. Tevin Coleman is one of the best 20th round picks in fantasy football. Just to answer that question. I have a lot of Tevin Coleman, even though I've only done 19 drafts. I mean, these guys in here, 114, 104.
I'm going to start pronouncing it like it's spelled. Coleman. Tevin Coleman. The big
Cole.
Their careers aren't over yet. Still a shot.
I mean, you got a point.
That's a fact.
Hold on. I wonder. Oh, I don't know if they'd be able to hear if I could play it. That's something that needs to be played on this live stream.
There's a way. I've actually been thinking about that. We can set it up for future streams.
I don't know. I would play the video if you guys could hear it. I don't know if you would be able to hear the audio.
I mean,
Probably not.
I mean, not to peek behind the kimono, but you play it the same way that you play like the intro music. So you just have to load it up ahead of time.
Oh, if I just upload the video clip. Got you. Say I won't do that right now.
There's no shot you have it on hand like that.
Hey, if there's a will, there's a way.
Facts. Oh, see. The good late round wide receivers are all starting to go. People know who they are. They really do. I mean, I'm going KJ Hamler with my last pick. Fuck it. Said, oh my God, I got sniped on Mac Jones. Tough scene. Absolute tough scene. But probably for the best. You don't really want Mac Jones on your team. This boy Joey's trying to plot my demise right now instead of focusing on the stream. That's how you know.
I'm not plotting I'm not plotting anybody's demise, bro.
You know how this kid's got it all twisted up in his head. We got to review some teams right now.
All right, let's do it.
Draft complete. All right. So who do we know that's in the chat? Definitely we got our boy Fantasy Couch. Let's put him up there.
Mac Jones has 1.5.
Oh.
I mean, he likes to party. Can you blame him? All right.
What do we got? Kick it off.
You want me to kick it off?
Kick it off. I'm gonna look at this.
I mean, all right. First thing that stands out to me is 4 tight ends. I don't think you need 4. Ever. Yeah. Even in 20 rounds, because you only start 1 tight end a week, and then the chances that a second tight end gets into your lineup through the flex is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
So just I would keep it to 2 to 3. Wide receivers, pretty solid. D-Hop, Metcalf, Godwin, Chase, AB, Cole Beasley, Deshaun Jackson, solid wide receiving core. Kamara, Najee Harris, Gordon, Latavius, Chuba.
I'm not bullish on Chuba as one of those guys. Like, I'm going Gainwell and Sermon over him, but I think they were both off the board. Yeah, they were definitely both off the board by 15-4. 2 stacks on this squad with Wilson to Metcalf and Brady to Godwin. Solid team. Definitely a solid team. It's just, the 4 tight ends. I don't like spending 7 picks between your 2 onesie spots. I think 6 is the max and 5 is the optimal.
What Ben said. So I don't know who else we are. I think JMB.
JM's yes in the chat.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here.
My guy's got 121 entries.
He's in all these joints.
Yeah, that boy's a grinder. Shout out to JMB. But Darren Waller, my boy Darren, 3rd round pick. Diggs, Cooper, Lockett, Boyd, Waddle, solid. Saquon, D-Mont. I mean, we kind of went on the long rant while we're avoiding D-Mont, but it seems like his ADP's dropping.
5.5. I don't hate it. It's just when he was going on, a little bit earlier that I had to back off of that.
Yeah. So all in all, I think this is a very well constructed team, and
It is. He's got the Rodgers to MVS as a late stack. Got MVS at 18.6. And he's definitely a value.
Came to Hunter Henry as well.
And Aguilar double stack there with the Patriots. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a solid team, well constructed. MVS is a guy that I think is going down. Oh shit. Yes, is Doma. Wait, is JM not in the chat then?
Nah, I think he might be. I don't know. But either way,
put up Doma,
and then we can get Kwasi. See, I remembered.
Kwasi. Yeah, we got Kwasi. We got Houston, bro. I think the whole draft is in this chat. No cap.
Yep.
Doma's a grinder too. Man's has 114.
Doma is a grinder for sure. But Kittle and Ebron, that's what you do if you get a Kittle or Kelsey. So I like that. Justin Jefferson, Woods, DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel. A lot of younger wide receivers, maybe not Woods, but Jefferson, Moore, Samuel, Hollywood. Young wide receivers with a lot of upside. I like the wide receiving core a lot. Like the running backs, kind of some dust right here. And maybe I want to draft those guys, but I think in the 13th round and in the 12th round, they're going to score points now. So
yeah, they will. I love Connor. I know that you hate Connor and have no respect for him and everything he's been through, but like I love Connor.
No, I don't mind him in the 13th round. I mean,
as an RB5, there's upside there.
100%. I just think Chase Edmonds is a little better, but Doma knows what he's doing. So 100%. Every time he's in the draft, he drafts a solid team. So
yeah, 2 stacks too. Just real quick before you were out of there, Lamar Jackson to Hollywood Brown and Sam Darnold to DJ Moore. Solid construction. Yeah. What else we got? Kwasi.
Yep.
Wait, yeah, that's how you say it. Kwasi.
Yeah.
I always get tripped up on that. All right, so what do we got here?
You could take this one away.
All right, so we got a 3-2 build at tight end. Looks like 9 receivers. Hang on, it's easier if I could look at this on my own screen. Oh, shit. All right, so wait, you got the wrong team up, brother.
No, I think I'm bugging.
Tweaking. Oh, all right. Tannehill to A.J. Brown, T-Law to Marvin Jones, Carson Wentz to Paris Campbell. I mean, this is a man after my own heart with the triple stack. I love it. Solid construction with the running backs as well. Love CEH at 3.1. We just talked about it recently. I think on our TikTok is where we did that. Maybe it was on the podcast, but the Orlando Brown trade where the Chiefs just acquired another elite offensive lineman is it's a huge boost for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. After the Super Bowl, their protection fell apart and they made a concerted effort to go after that. I think that CEH is one of the biggest winners of that. Don't see him going running back in the draft. So, I mean, that's a running back with elite upside that you're getting in the 3rd round. And just super, super solid construction with the wide receivers. I mean, Brown, Evans, Beckham, Curtis, Marvin Jones is a wide receiver 5 stacked with T-Law is a ton of upside. I love this. I mean, this is a team that I'm a huge fan of. These are all the guys that I target late too. Paris Campbell, Traquan Smith.
Yeah.
Emoji.
No, I like this team a lot, to be honest. I like CH. He just commented, I reached on CH, but I wanted a couple of CMC CH shares. I think that's a solid RB1, RB2 right there. And it's not really a reach, honestly. He's been going in the 3rd round, more so towards here. Mm-hmm. But I haven't drafted in a couple of days, and it seems like some of these guys are falling and some of these guys are rising because like J-Rob and even Najee Harris were getting into the 3rd round, and Swift was a little bit higher. So I don't hate it.
It's a draft by draft thing. The one I did before this, Swift went at like 2-4. So
yeah, yeah. So CH been creeping up. Yep,
deservedly so. He's still not creeping up into the 2nd round, and this was a guy I was, smashing at 1.5, 1.6 last year towards August. So
I will say I was off that, and I was right. So shout out to me for being off that train last year, but I'm on it this year in the 3rd and 4th round. You can get them right here sometimes. CEH.
Let's see FD Houston's team.
Houston, shout out to Houston.
Yep.
Dak, Dak, obviously, we talked about it when it happened, but that's kind of just like an overall pick. Even if you don't have a Cowboys wide receiver, he's still probably going to be a top 3 quarterback in an all points format. I don't think you need to stack Dak, honestly, even though it makes sense to. Joe Burrow, I'm not seeing a stack with him, and then Mac Jones as well. I don't think I've ever seen Mac Jones drafted.
I've taken him a couple times.
But
he has no ADP. Yeah, people aren't taking him. And I mean, he is a guy who's most likely going to start 16 games. I mean, maybe people are looking down at him because of, they like Wilson and Lance and Fields more, which is fair. But I mean, he is going to start 16 games. And if you're looking at it from like an ownership perspective in a large field GPP, which is what this is, I mean, why not? It's a leverage play. It's a low ownership play. I think it's completely fine. And what I will say here, and this is something that we've been talking about more and more, there's more merit to taking 3 quarterbacks than there is to taking 3 tight ends when you land an elite player, because the frequency at which quarterbacks are able to put up difference-making weeks is higher than tight ends. So, typically Dak Prescott is a guy that I'm only going to draft 2 quarterbacks with, but he also took Kelsey, so he didn't have to go 3 tight end in the spot. And I think that, there's merit to taking Mac Jones in the 20th. The other guys in that range are probably not going to be in his starting lineup all that often either. So, go for it with a guy like Mac Jones who, at least he's playing every single week, right?
Yeah. Definitely makes sense. And then just for this team overall, not a lot of correlation, but I think there's a lot of individually good players who could have pretty good seasons, like Eckler, and then obviously Thielen, Kupp. You're high on Robbie Anderson, so am I. Jerry Jeudy, if the Broncos get a quarterback, I think is kind of undervalued at this point. And then some late guys like Reynolds and Slayton, who we both like as well. So correlation might not be as high as some of these other teams, but for me, I like a lot of these players that Houston drafted, and I think a lot of them. I think a lot of these guys have the chance to have very good seasons.
Mm-hmm. Houston, talking about his own team here, Burrow coming off injury is what pushed the needle for Jones. Yeah, that's a fair point. For me, I don't make picks in these with the assumption that they're going to fail, kind of like Joey was talking about, speaking into existence. And just the fact that it's a $5 entry, it's like, I'm not, protecting myself with these. I'm embracing fragility. So it's like, if that Burrow pick works out, then I'm just assuming it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, then this isn't a winning team, and that's fine.
Yep. All right.
Now we pulling up some artwork. We pulling up some elite fire. Go ahead.
I mean, I like the tight end group. Think those are 3 of the guys that, you kind of want to give if you're waiting on a tight end. Running back, Derrick Henry. Obviously, he's not going to catch many passes, but he's going to have those large spike weeks where he gets 40 fantasy points and runs for 200 yards, whatever. Joe Mixon. I mean, just go look at my Twitter.
Stop hating.
Hashtag never Joe Mixon. But he's in a solid situation. That Bengals offense could be explosive. Just not a Joe Mixon fan. Then you're kind of banking on 2 rookie running backs. I don't like that. This is one of the weaker running back classes over the last couple of years in terms of running backs. Darrell Henderson, obviously gonna have a little role, but probably not going to be a factor. So I think even with Henry and Mixon, running back is your most glaring weakness. But you only start 2. And you have the wide receivers to make up for it. And Calvin, CD, Julio, Chark, Fuller, pretty solid. And obviously quarterback is solid too with Hurts, who I think has top 6 upside.
And he's one of the rare quarterbacks that I think so much of his production comes from rushing, or his prospective production comes from rushing, that you don't have to stack him. Even as Mr. Stack over here. But I mean, I still stack the other guys who I think their production is going to be based on passing touchdowns. So, I'm trying to correlate those receiving touchdowns. Obviously, Ryan to Ridley and Jones, and Tua to Will Fuller. So that was the thought process with that. Gerald Everett is a guy I'm coming around to off of Joey's recommendation, targeting him often in the 16th, 15th round, just because of the potential upside with the vacant targets, with David Moore leaving, Jacob Hollister leaving in Seattle. It's possible that Gerald Everett is Russell Wilson's number 3 target. So I think that's fair. I agree with you with your assessment, though. I think running back is weak, but if Henry and Mixon pay off and are healthy all year, it's a possible solid team.
Yeah, for sure. I just don't like banking on 2 rookie running backs, especially as your RB3 and RB4. And then personally, I don't like the last 3 wide receivers that you drafted either. But I think your first 6 make up for your last 3, especially when you're just shooting for ceiling with guys like Ruggs, Hamler, and Tony, who probably have floors lower than 6 feet in the dirt, but have ceilings that are kind of higher than some other wide receivers. So, yeah.
All right.
Anyways,
all right. Let me take a look at what I see.
I think I drafted a pretty solid team all around.
Mm-hmm. So I'm seeing a double stack or triple stack actually with Herbert to Keenan, Parham, and Guyton. I like that. Watson, just a Hail Mary type of pick in the 11th. I like that. Trey Lance, prospective stacking options there with Ayuk if he goes to the 49ers, with Fant if he goes to the Broncos. So, I mean, I like that. Wide receivers definitely solid. You got, a bunch of upside in guys like Hill, Higgins, Ayuk, Smith, and then you've got some safer options to, steady that out with guys like Keenan Allen and Jamison Crowder. So that's solid. And, running backs, I might be on Team Myles Gaskin after what you said about him. I'm starting to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just, like I was saying earlier, Myles Gaskin is a guy that he's going to be. At first, it was Chase Edmonds. I said that, put that on record. James Conner signed. He lost that title. That title's up for grabs. Myles Gaskin is the head contender right now. 3 days is what he has to fade. 4 days, because he has to fade Friday too. But come Saturday, if they don't draft a running back, Myles Gaskin season. And we know he can catch passes, and this is a full PPR site. So as my RB3, I like it. Naheem Hines, full PPR site, fell to me in the 13th round. I don't think I've seen him fall that far, honestly. Gus Edwards, 17th round. I just had to take him as my RB5. But I think this is a very, very solid all-around team with ceiling and floor mixed in. And Keenan, he ended the year kind of poorly, but 25, 34, 20, 21, 22, 25. Like I think he's up there in terms of ceiling as well.
Absolutely. I think that's it. Right?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think I drafted the best team in this draft.
I think my favorite might have been Kwasi's. I'm not gonna lie, but super solid draft. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Thanks for being part of it. We appreciate it. I love that people are commenting on these throughout the whole draft. It makes it a lot more fun. So we'll be back with another one soon. I definitely want to do one more this week before it closes. So
we can do one tomorrow, Wednesday.
Yeah,
it's probably gonna be on the docket. So
absolutely. So make sure you guys, if you want to join the Discord, we give you a heads up every time we're about to do one of these.
Link in the description.
If you are watching this on replay, like the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We appreciate it, and we'll be back this week. More drafting.